What is going on? It's your boy Siete here, and I want to thank you for joining us here today. Today will be broadcast on Friday morning, and it's an opportunity for me to introduce my writing partner and my very good friend, Jake DeLang, aka Jake D from Eastside. We had an opportunity to sit down and talk all kinds of stuff. Jake is a very reclusive and private person, but he took the time to sit and talk to me about early days in Eastside, influences, and especially about what we're doing now with Pile of Snakes. So sit back, get yourself a drink and some popcorn. It's about an hour and change worth of Jake D. If you've never spoken to the man, you're about to hear him in his own words give not only his perspective but his wisdom, not only in the music industry but life in general. So I'm really pleased to say, sit back and enjoy this. Welcome to the Snakepile version of Siete Speaks, and get down with Jake D as Jake D speaks with me. Yo, 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 what's going on? It's your boy Siete from Pile of Snakes and Seventh Row Crew and many other things you may remember. And the gentleman who is sitting beside me here today on this another episode of Siete Speaks is my boy, the one, the only, the infamous, the much desired, much sought after, and ever elusive, infamous Jacob Andrew DeLang, aka Jake D. What's going on, my man? Welcome to the fucking stratosphere here of social media. I know you're not somebody that fucking partakes in this shit a lot, so I appreciate you making the time to do this with me and for us. Of course, today, when this is going to be released, this is our EP or single EP for 2 songs. Welcome to the Snakepile from Pile of Snakes is officially out on most all streaming platforms. But anyway, welcome to this shit, man, brother.
Hey, thank you very much, man. I feel very welcome.
Nice.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Thank you for the fucking sweet introduction, too.
It's awesome. Well, you know, we're bi-coastal right now. You're on the East Coast, and I'm on the West Coast, and we made this shit happen for today because we wanted to, you know, obviously announce the thing for tomorrow and let people know kind of what we've been up to. And more importantly, let people know what you've been up to. I know that, like I said earlier, you're not one that kind of partakes in social media, and that's dude, for as an artist, I respect that because you know, you don't delve into the bullshit that most of us do when we read texts and comments and shit. But what I will tell you is that since we've been doing this, and I've been networking with people all around the world, actually. You have an amazing history and an amazing legacy, whether you realize it or not, that being in the bands that we were in you know, the 90s and into 2000s, that people still really give a shit about. And in fact, we were talking earlier, and I got a message from somebody in Romania that was like, "Hey, tell Jake D we are still influenced by him and this and that." So it's like, wow, you know, just to get your initial thoughts on what you think about new metal, or what we didn't call it new metal back then, but what new metal has kind of come back as a resurgence, and what you think about it, and how people still talk about you and they talk about the music. Like, what are your thoughts on some of that stuff, man?
Every time anybody gives me love like that, I feel honored. You know what I mean? That's really cool. I feel like it's like, you know, just something special. It's really, really, it's kind of, I mean, it's not exactly why you started making music or whatever, but you don't really make, most bands don't make music for people to just absolutely hate. You know what I mean? So, you getting that buzz?
No.
No?
No.
Want to retake that?
No. You're good. Keep going.
Yeah, so fucking, man, I don't know. I'm surprised. I'm surprised about the longevity of our music. I think one of the most shocking things about it is that people kind of made our music sound like it wouldn't stand the test of time in any way, you know, when it was happening. they kind of treated it as a trend and a fad, and I think we're seeing that that's just not the case. People have been fans of new metal for a long time, and I hear, as it's coming back, and I have from Sirius XM radio that I, have other things with YouTube and shit, that I watch music with, and I see it really making a return, and I'm flattered 100% that any young band would ever look to what we did and think that even back then, I knew bands who said that to us. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's very fucking cool, right? I mean,
it's kind of wild, right?
I mean, it's got to feel, you know what I mean? It's what, like I said, you know what I mean? It's not the main reason why you do what you do. And I mean, but no, most bands don't make music for people to absolutely fucking hate. I think like Anal Cunt and Insult and those bands do, you know what I mean? But like most bands don't do that. You know what I mean? Most bands are trying to.
Well, I think early on when we were doing this, we didn't have that kind of foresight, right? We were we were looking in the moment. We were looking kind of everything as kind of lightning in a bottle. I wasn't thinking what would people think 30 years from now. No, I mean, honestly, I didn't think I'd be alive 30 years.
I didn't know if people would be listening to it in like 30 days. Like, right. You know what I mean? That kind of thing, like, because people weren't listening to it for 30 minutes at a time. Like, they weren't, like, early on when we started doing what we were doing, there wasn't, like, a great reception from the crowd outside of where we were, like, initially from, like, right in time.
Right.
We had a good crowd. You know what I mean? But, like, that was friends or people in the area who kind of, you know what I mean, came together to do kind of like a happening kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Let's briefly talk about that actually, because I know we were talking to some ideas before. Get into that, like the early parts of it. If you can, kind of talk about the early days and how you got started, and so people know kind of the genesis of how what eventually became Eastside, and then from that point where you guys came together. Obviously, kind of some lineup changes, but really when the core group came together, and then how that was kind of going forward. If you can kind of like give us a quick timeline and or whatever you think you want to go into.
I was basically more raised up on hip hop because my brother is bigger than me and older, and he was my roommate. You know what I mean? That's who I shared my room with, and he was into choice 90s. Late 80s hip hop that was just, being rude to roost for me. So I grew up doing that. I had, my parents' classic rock radio collection, record collection, and we had the radio. But like my family didn't even really have cable. We didn't have MTV, videos and shit like that. But more than me, it was like I was very much into Guns N' Roses or like bands who were popping up, who were the mainstays at the time, and. Ray Jeffries, who's champion Eastside, one day invited me over to sing, and he invited Kool-Aid, and he was in the 5th grade. He had gotten a BC Rich bitch guitar, and he had gotten some lessons, and they were doing some stuff, and we played some Eagles tracks and Take It to the Limit, did a lot of 3-chord stuff, and did a little singing, and even wrote a original. And so that's the 3 people in Eastside eventually who kind of made that part of it come together. So Ray and I eventually joined a band to make all this a little bit tighter. We eventually joined a band called Mudsoul. And it was with a dude who's going to Berkeley, Chris Bartell. He was the guitar player. And like I said, the drummer and the bass player were at least in like the high school jazz band from like the Catholic high school. They were doing pretty, they were pretty advanced over us. And we learned, how to write songs and everything, and did a little demo, and played a show or two, and then did some parties and stuff like that. And then we got a show at a club called the Mainstream Cafe in Taunton, Massachusetts, downtown. And it was a Sunday matinee, hardcore matinee, basically, but it was with a band called Fragments, and then otherwise Twisted Bone. and they had like some legendary Taunton players, and they had Dino J and Bob Milan, fucking was the bass player at the time. Like there was like everybody. Paul Lorenzo was the drummer, and this cat Gary Rigo is one of the guitar players and singer. And he like gave me a compliment at the end of the show and was like, you did good. And that really was fucking cool to me because these were like grown men, you know what I mean, with like the fucking like heavy metal shit and like gauntlets, and they were like a fucking moving into like a kind of a black metal sound or something. Then, but the band who played after us, after we opened up the show, was Grudge Holder from
Yeah, I Grudge. Yeah, Mizza was in Grudge Holder.
Mizza was in Grudge Holder,
yeah.
And fucking the singer Paul Travis. Travis was fucking just like I said. Everybody who was like from like Rebound, all of us when we started out. I bet you we were all just kind of like had at least fucking seen Grudge Holder. You know what I mean? That was probably
right.
Jeff Mendes. This Cape Verdean dude was the fucking guitar player, like, dark skin. He looks fucking totally different than everybody else in the fucking whole scene. And he was like fucking crazy, dude. He would do the craziest shit on stage. And they like really like, did like the guitar shit. And Paul's voice is like a fucking tractor trailer truck, fucking, you know what I mean? Just like, bleh. And great. And like I said, I think people might find that a little funny because later on, I'll add beef or whatever, like fucking kid shit. But that was a big influence on me. Like I've never really seen any fucking thing like that or known that it really existed. You know what I mean? And I was like, fuck yeah. And I couldn't believe it was like happening in my city. And like I didn't know. You know what I mean? Like this is like finding some crazy shit. So when we went back to go play again, I decided I'm gonna try to do that, like screaming shit, like that dude from Grudge Holder. You know what I mean, dude?
Right.
Like instantaneously, I realized I had a different voice and started to do it a little bit different, and then got my own take on it, and
right.
And heard that other people were doing it. It started to look around for all that shit. You know what I mean? And find more shit and get influenced by other fucking genres or just people, and then I found my own voice in that shit. You know what I mean? And
cool.
And then so when they ended, Mud Soul ended, Ray and I fucked around, and we had done like one track with like hip hop in it, and when Ryan Kool-Aid and Jane Violet were looking for some folks to start a band with, they found this cat Matt, who was like a local derelict dude, and he played drums, and then they called us up and asked if we would come down. And we went in and I did a freestyle rap, and it was called Eastcide, and fucking and it was like a freestyle I had worked out in my head, you know what I mean? And like kind of done some shit and already had like a little chorus to it and shit. And we rocked it out, and we were all like, fucking that day we just started doing it. That cat Matt, we were like, yeah, we got to get rid of this fucking dude, you know what I mean? It was like, kind of thing. So like we kind of put his drums out in the hallway, and then they found Stanwood. I never met Tom until we started playing together. Tom Stanwood was the first drummer. You know what I mean? The other dude wasn't the drummer at Eastside. You know what I mean? And like, so we had called it Eastside. We were doing the thing, and Tom was not like Tom was a big Dream Theater dude. You know what I mean? And he was into like a different type of music than the rest of us. We were all kind of like feeling that fucking vibe. You know what I mean? Of like, let's create something outside of the barriers that are happening on the radio or MTV or anything like that. And like you said, no one was calling it fucking new metal, and nobody.
Right.
And that didn't come around until, well, I don't even know. Maybe I'm not one of those dudes who knows all that shit, but like,
right.
So anyway, it was like more like rapcore. People kind of called it. You know what I mean? And we were trying to like go with like, that bigger fucking like, screamy shit, and then just rap, you know what I mean? And even like the drums and the bass and everything, which was like to sound like hip hop and shit.
Yeah.
And, we were very influenced by that in our surroundings.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a little push and pull with Tom for a little bit, and then we all kind of started to come together and play some shows, and that's where like Taunton became like a big deal for us,
Right.
We had the Catholic school covered with Kool-Aid, went to it. He could get flyers there. We went to the fucking public school, and Shane went to the technical school, the tech school in town, PP. So we had that shit covered, and Stanwood was in Middleborough. We had that shit covered. We had all kinds of people coming from all over, and we started playing this place called the Expo Center in Taunton, which was at the flea market.
Yeah.
The other flea market that used to be there. Like I said, Taunton flea markets at one time trashy and classy and first class white trash. Don't make me remind you.
Hell yeah. That's a line, by the way. You'll get to hear that when you get to know the songs, by the way. And just for people that don't know the geography of Massachusetts, where we're both from, Taunton, Middleborough, South Shore, going towards like the Cape, Rhode Island, that way, in terms of geography, south of Boston, for people that don't know.
River, Fall River, New Bedford, Brockton, Taunton, you know what I mean? That southeastern Massachusetts area, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
right on.
Yeah.
So you guys got, you started to gain a little bit of a foothold in Taunton, Middleborough.
Yep.
You guys all from around the area. You started to see some, people coming out, which was probably kind of an interesting thing. I remember when my band first started, Seventh Row Crew, we didn't have like a scene. You played Waltham a bunch of times with us. You were able to see that early on when we brought you guys up, and conversely, you guys brought us down to Taunton and Middleborough. There wasn't much of a scene because there was nothing going on, so people were really starving. They were like voracious for like any type of music, especially young kids, because there was no place for kids to go. Short of going to Boston on like an all ages show, where we're from, 20 minutes, suburban Boston West, there was nothing to do. So anytime we had a hall show, or anytime we did the radio station, Brandeis University, anytime we did anything like that, it was extremely well attended because there was nothing else to do. So, and it was a place for kids to go experience something. We found there was at that time, in like the mid 90s, it was a great time because people the kids, like, they heard alternative music and heavy music, and this was post kind of grunge, and they wanted to do something exciting and see something. Live music was still like a thing that was relatively uncommon. You know what I mean? For kids to go see.
Fucking huge. Slam dancing was huge. I met Shane Violet, the bass player, the first bass player for Eastcide, slam dancing in a living room at a fucking party at like fucking 1 a.m, dude. You know what I mean? To River Runs Red by fucking Life of Agony.
Nice. So, we all did, yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? It was like living room outfits. It was like the dance. It was slam. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, yeah, it felt great and it felt good to us. And then as that place closed, we wanted to like play other places and start to do things, and we realized that we were kids and we didn't get it. Like the whole like being a kid and like knowing the thing of like everybody in the room and everything else, starting to play bars, getting X's on your hands and not being 21.
Right.
Guys who they're practicing or playing whatever, were just blowing us the fuck off the stage and kind of making us, at least me noticing that they were kind of making us look a little bit silly. So we started to take ourselves a little more seriously and play better.
Right.
That was tough to do when you're young, and it was tough to do when you're not that great. You know what I mean? So like,
right. You don't know what you don't know.
Right. We had a standing gig at a Sunday place called the End Zone in Foxborough, which was a fucking place for the Patriots.
Yeah, Patriots place. Yeah.
It was Sullivan Stadium or Foxborough Stadium. I'm not sure which one, but it was the old stadium. It wasn't Gillette. There was nothing on fucking
Foxborough Stadium. Yeah, I think it was Foxborough.
Foxborough, I believe by then, right? And Schaefer or Shea. There was a bunch of them, whatever they all were. And it's Sullivan, I think at one time too. Sullivan Brothers, but they fucking anyway. That's when the Patriots sucked. And
right. Pre Tom Brady.
We'd be at the fucking shows, and the guy just let us play, and we got used to playing on a stage, kind of that way. We met that band Insult though there. They played one of the shows with us. Nobody came. It was a Sunday fucking gig.
I remember Insult. Yeah, those guys are cool.
They were fucking wild. And and we started to do some more shit and get some more shows and do a little bit better and write better. All of us together, and we started to book hall shows and find out more about that. You know what I mean? Like how we could book a show and do something somewhere where it wasn't so like close to home, but still like,
Yeah.
like if our friends wanted to come or whatever, you know what I mean?
Right.
And that vibe. And it built up a scene, and you were part of that. And that's
Yeah. Yeah.
like right around when I met you was when we were doing that.
So that was what year do you think that was? 90 what?
Idea. 6?
Mid to late 90s, right?
Right.
So yeah, I remember you guys inviting us down there because I don't want to get ahead of us, but eventually we really met in Worcester, which I want to talk about how pivotal Worcester was for both of us. But yeah, I remember you guys when we went down there, people were like, Eastside was like a cult. People were just so like fucking Eastside, man. Like it was everywhere because kids already had tapes and merch, and they were like already about it. You guys had cultivated a really great scene, whether you realized it or not. You started something special, and that we were really amazingly blessed to be a part of, because we had something similar. We did the hall show things too, but it wasn't. You guys were already kind of ahead of the game as far as when we went down there. We're like, oh, these guys, because Paul was still in the band with us, I think, when we kind of came down there too, singing with me. This is like a scene, and this is something like really special that we could be a part of, and it was amazing. Like I just remember the intensity. It was a choice to be on the floor with the crowd, so like you're there, people could knock into you, like you were in the shit. People were slamming and marching, whatever. You could get knocked over, or like me and you would probably say, "Fuck it," grab the mic and just go out into the shit. And you were amongst the sweatiness and everything, into the chaos. And as a young performer, that was like amazing. It was like, holy shit, this is awesome. So talk more about that, and how that developed into, I think, what I was just talking about, how you guys kind of broke out of that eventually, and then headed towards Worcester and Western Mass and things like that.
Okay. It was that was like growth, you know what I mean? It was like, we had seen it, and we were like, oh shit, and we had done some things, and then we were like, oh, this one didn't go good and whatever, and we started to concentrate more on the performing at those places, and having songs that were singable with me, kind of thing. We liked that, and we really, thought that was that's a weird zone, because it's a small crowd and you can rock it, you know what I mean, and shit, but it's not everyone can see you. It's almost like, being in a fucking stadium or something without the fucking screen behind you, you know what I mean? The people back here and stuff only see the mosh pit.
Right.
Back. So the crowd presses up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if they want to see a band, like those dudes, there'd be people like,
it was intense.
360 degrees around or something. It was fucking nasty. And then like when Big Pits broke out, I mean, everybody who was in that scene has seen some band like make one of those rooms erupt. It's pretty fucking intense.
Awesome. Yeah, it's awesome. That's really cool.
Like, dude, just get a cop, and that's it. That's all you need for security and shit. Dude, you're fucking fine, that's all we would do, and so it was great. And after we had done a couple of those, and Roger Chenard from Grain and fucking
big ups to Roger,
posted in Canyon shit and Sinners and Saints and whatnot. When he started to do those shows, it was and have us headline. It was like, I don't know, there's something else that went on there. It was better. He had better PAs. He had, you know what I mean, and shit. And
he's a consummate musician. He was a pro from way back.
Yeah, we were a little bit older. We had gotten fucking a little more teeth cut, and that's where we started to. That's right around the time where we started to develop a following in Worcester, and then through the Espresso Bar and that scene, we just kind of lit a fire, you know what I mean, dude? And
right.
Bold with it, and there was this, there's a thing in Worcester already. And
right.
People and shit like that, and bands and everything else. And although I know a lot of the bands and everything else, it was the fans,
right,
know what I mean, who made that fucking shit like what it was.
Right.
I mean, that's like when we started to play those Worcester shows and have like fucking all the people singing the lyrics and fucking, you know, being in bigger clubs than even the Espresso Bar and shit, and playing Webster and Spencer and wherever fuck else all through there and everything else in Western Mass and in Rhode Island. We were having great reception. We would post, or people would see those shows. And other bands would be like, fucking, can we come play one of those shows? You know what I mean?
Right.
Give you a show somewhere else. And that's where, like, most of our DIY traveling, which kind of blew people's fucking minds of all that we did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, that's right around the time that Ray got that van, right?
Right, yeah.
I started, like, you know, in on that. And
so let's talk a little bit more about.
It's like a blue streak in my mind, bro, right now. You know what I mean? I don't know. There's so much shit in there that's like, you know.
Let's talk about Worcester just a little bit more, because it's an important place. And for people that know Worcester, it's an hour west of Boston. It's like the next biggest city outside of Boston. It's like the next hub directly west out of Boston. It's an interesting place. It's a kind of like a more of a gritty industrial city, very grimy, has its own attitude, has its own kind of
Wormtown, bro.
Wormtown. And when we first went out there, definitely
what it is, dude. So
trashy.
Got some trash to it, bro.
We initially when people say where you're from, we would go Worcester, because even though we were from Waltham, but like we really got our start by playing in Worcester, and that place was a hub. And then of course Ralph's and Sir Morgan's Cove and Commercial Street Cafe and a couple other little places that we played. The Worcester Artists Guild. There was a couple other places that we played, but it was an important place because I got exposed to a lot of great bands out there. You know, you and I both talked about this before. You know, the Force Fed Shovelhead. You know, Pat and George were, you know, really, you know, guys that was like, holy shit, these guys are really intense and they're really doing it.
They were good friends.
Yeah,
that was a good. Those dudes, we broke down with them hard too. You know what I mean? They were one of the fucking bands we super broke down with. And, I mean, there were so many fucking bands.
Chillum, Dr. Buchenheimer, fucking Any Hostility.
I talked to times, dude.
Nice. Bonehead, fucking Seven Hill Psychos, which eventually became East Coast Psychos. Still talk to Brian to this day. What up, Killer B? Man, there are just so many bands that we got to know in that area. And then eventually, every time we came out, those were the core bands that played there. And then, like you said, what an important aspect of the scene that I think is understated even to this day is the relationship. We would go out and play shows, and I would purposefully love to go and play with you so I could get to go see you, because you're one of my homies. But like every time we played, it almost was every single band was homies, like almost exclusively. It became like, oh, I'm gonna go hang out with my friends, get to drink, maybe get fucked up and get paid for it and get people to see it and get treated kind of like a rock star in a way. And it was like the best of both worlds, because I got to do all the cool things and hang out with my friends at the same time. And it was like such an amazing scene, and it did amazing things for us. And without that scene, we wouldn't have had the success that we had, I can tell you. And I'm pretty sure the same goes for you, only because I was there when you guys really had your shit together. And it was like, again, lightning in a bottle, and the scene, the time, the kids, the music, the culture, everything was just right. And you guys just hit it, and fucking, we were there to kind of, I was glad to be alongside you, doing those things as well. But it shined a light on all the bands that were really trying to do something special. And then you guys did a fantastic job of that.
It was a Goldilocks moment for no.
Yeah, for sure.
It was. It all kind of like came together. But the other thing about it was that it was very unbridled.
Yeah.
You saw bands back then, even some of the bands you named, they just were not the fucking same music and shit.
No.
And and you could see a death metal band play with us. You could see a punk band play with us. You could see fucking basically any type of act go on and share the stage. and share a venue and shit. And no real like. Well, I mean, I'm sure eventually. I've heard some things. I'm not trying to be negative, but no, like you know what I mean, like clicky bullshit. Because there wasn't anything like that. You know what I mean? It wasn't like this type of music. You know what I mean? And that's it.
No, we were lucky. It was very diverse.
Yeah, and it was unbridled. It just kind of happened. And organic is a term that I think we've used, and it's fucking like, it is. You know what I mean? It is an organic experience. That was an organic experience. It was very much just kind of go with what you know. You know what I mean? If anybody is doing whatever, you know what I mean? We're gonna like figure that out with them. If they fucking, you know what I mean? If somebody's getting a van, the other guys are gonna get a van. Oh, you guys fucking bought a trailer. Should we get a trailer? Oh, it's costing me money. Too much money on these fucking short trips. All right, we won't get a trailer. You know what I mean?
Right.
Pack everybody into the fucking van. You know what I mean? Where did you stay when you went to this fucking town? What did you do? You know what I mean? It was very much like fly by night and go for it. And a lot of that, like I'm gonna say it again, dude, is the fucking fans of that music. Or people who are like, oh, you're coming to town? You guys can sleep in my fucking house, man. You know what I mean, dude?
Yeah, like, that happened for sure.
Yeah, man. You're like, really, dude? You know, like, I remember fucking running into fucking Lords of Brooklyn in Burlington, Vermont. We played Burlington, and I ran into them, and they played upstairs on fucking Church Street or something, and we played the fucking, like, first show at that fucking Main Street fucking hardcore. It was like the third show or something. It was just a little fucking room. We played with Drain. When Rich was the singer.
Pre-Bob? Pete Briette?
I think Pete Briette was the singer at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what that. So anyway, they fucking ran into them, and they were like, yeah, we stayed with fucking Seventh Row Crew last night, and they stayed at your house and shit. And they
that's funny.
And everything, you know. I was like, yeah, no shit, we go, we fucking, you know. All hung and fucking shot the shit for a while. And that's just like that type of experience with all of that. It was happening. You know what I mean?
Right.
The world was pretty free and moving back then.
It was wide open. Yeah.
We were fucking free range dudes who were already doing whatever. Like by the time that I met you, like we basically lived in our fucking studio, man. You know what I mean? Like we would party there all the fucking time. We were just years old or whatever. You know what I mean? We would fucking be doing our own damn thing, and that's kind of how it was, you know. And decided to fucking create a fucking new metal scene in the Northeast.
And you guys did. You guys, I'm like I said, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but you guys were definitely at the forefront of a lot of that. And without you guys, I don't think it would have been nearly as successful. I mean, they're really outside of our two bands. I mean. A couple of the Worcester bands, but as far as Boston goes, like there was hardcore bands, and we would of course get on all the Boston. We were lucky; we would play Boston hardcore shows, and that after a while, that got to be like, all right, we really don't belong in this kind of scene. Even though I consider myself like a hardcore kid, I used to go to punk shows all the time. When my band would play with like Madball, or like my band would play with like Slapshot, it wasn't the same thing. It was
Long Island. They were cool. I got fucked up in Hoya. We were getting wrecked. It was
it happened, and like you were saying, the scene allowed for like that shit to happen because you could play with like a Shooty's Groove or a Madball or a Dog Eat Dog or fucking like whoever, like a lot of Murphy's Law. Like you could be on a show with those bands who were like more hardcore bands, but because it was acceptable at the time. But then. At one point, that kind of switched, and like hardcore in Boston became kind of a dangerous thing. And we recognized it at that point. And we were like, you know what? I think we need to be more doing this certain thing. And I think you kind of experienced something. You guys did kind of a different. You had a kind of a different idea as to kind of where your band was going at that time. We both kind of had our own ideas, but we obviously had mutual respect for what each of the others was doing.
I never considered Eastside a hardcore band, fucking ever.
No.
Rap core thing was just kind of like, for lack of a better term, you know what I mean? I guess
rap core.
Yeah, people just kind of called it rap core.
Right.
So they called that type of music, you know what I mean? And I don't know, rap and roll or whatever or something. And I think that was a certain time where people, didn't really accept in any way. There was no Eminem. You know what I mean, dude? They're never
No.
really in House of Pain and shit, but that was like for Irish fucking white kids. I mean,
Right.
Beastie Boys was fucking slam dancing and shit. If you went to a House of Pain show or a Beastie Boys show, there would be slam dancing and shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It wasn't
that energy.
Yeah, it was a different, you know what I mean? And so the whole hip hop and fucking rock and roll thing, it didn't really mesh well, and I don't think a lot of people accepted it. But I mean, whatever, man. You know what I mean?
We did what we did. You know, you guys did what you did.
And I don't, you know what I mean? There's fucking music I don't like. You know what I mean, dude? There's not much
right.
of it, but there is. Like, I love it. But, you know what I mean? There is. There's some shit I'm just like, yeah, this is fucking trash. You know what I mean, dude? And like, so, I mean, people can think what they want. That doesn't
right.
Right?
No, you make your choices, you know, and as artists, you know, we have to.
Scenes, dude. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
a different fucking thing. But I will say this, dude. If you shoot for a small audience, you're gonna get a small audience. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what you know what I mean? And you're gonna have your own little world, and that'll be cool. But like I've said before too, one of the things we got a lot of guff about was that we had a lot of female fans, and that people didn't, you know, they were like, "What the fuck, a bunch of chicks show and fucking blah." And I'm like, I don't know, that sounds so fucking stupid. Because if it's a choice between getting punched in the face and getting fucking laid, like, you got rocks in the fuck. If that's what you think. I mean, like, some people are gonna beat you up, or you're gonna fucking meet some chick who's like, you know, or a guy or whatever. You know what I mean? If you're a girl, you're going to meet these fucking dudes and, you know, and have fun and dance.
Right.
It was dance music, and it wasn't. Although it was slam dancing and pogoing type shit or whatever and stuff like that. You know what I mean? We would request that people don't fucking brutalize each other to the point of, like, if someone goes down or something, don't fucking stop them out. You know what I mean? Kind of thing. And that was like, you know, we wouldn't want to see that shit. I don't want people to get, if you're feeling rambunctious and you want to jump in a pit and you get your fucking teeth, you know, one of your teeth knocked out or something, okay, good for you. That's kind of cool. You know what I mean, dude? But
right. It happens.
I don't want to see somebody get, like, brutally injured or whatever.
Right.
Over a fucking show. It sounds fucking stupid to me.
So let's talk a little bit more. I want to keep going about Worcester, because one other thing about Worcester that was special was local bazooka. I don't think that could be as understated as possible. Local bazooka, for those that don't know, you can see was an opportunity for local bands to play alongside national acts. So a band like mine and Jake's could get to play with Disturbed, Slipknot when they first came out played local bazooka, Zakk Wylde, Black Label Society, Godsmack early on, Faith No More. I mean, like, big bands, like really big, you know, Power Man 5000, Candlebox would play, Power Man 5000 when they were kind of a bigger band. Yeah. I mean, Static X, Kid Rock. I was on stage for Kid Rock when he played. It's funny because I remember when the midget Josie came out, I'm like, is there a fucking midget on stage? I was on that stage.
It was that we did. They played right before us that first year, right?
Yeah. I probably why I was on stage, because I was on stage for you guys, like, and then they switched or whatever. But it was an opportunity for us and to be seen as kind of nationals. Obviously, there was a difference between local support and national, like a national act. So local bazooka was great, even though it was a quasi pay-to-play scenario. You had to sell tickets. It gave us an opportunity to be exposed to not only radio, because the WAAF had a huge hand in it, and social media. You got to be in front of when we played 25,000 people, you know, at noontime on a Saturday. You know what I mean? It's like, where else would you get that kind of exposure? Because people are coming there to see these fucking national acts. So that scene, we played 2 years. I don't know, 2 or 3 years of that show. I think you guys played 2, right? 2 different years.
I played 2 years, 3 different years.
3 different years. Yeah, I think we played 2 or 3. I can't remember. Definitely 2.
We played 2 years on the main stage, and then we played 1 year. That first year, we sold tickets and played that show, and then the next year, it wasn't the next year. But the next time,
every other year they allowed you to do it, right?
We had ripped it, so they were like, "Yeah, don't sweat it." They were like, you know what I mean?
Right.
That kind of went viral, for lack of a better term. That fucking seeing Darren You Again, you know? I'm fucking like ripping it. I can't really understate the importance of that either. But we had fans in that crowd. You know what I mean? I mean, we
Yeah,
had
for sure.
people were fucking fans of ours already. You know what I mean? When you listen to like how many people are screaming back to you, you know what I mean, dude, and shit. It was cool. It was amazing. I've played in front of lots of crowds. Pretty big crowds sometimes. You know what I mean? I've gotten to
Yeah,
do. It's
yeah,
really cool. I've always though tried to always do it. You know what I mean, dude?
right.
Crowd, little crowd. You know what I mean? I try to get that shit done. If you ever see me like rock a little crowd, you know what I mean? I do. It's like catching
Same shit.
perch, or you know what I mean, or catching the big old bass. You know what I mean? Don't really matter. It's kind of fun. You know what I mean? Especially if you're using the right lures and shit. But
Nice.
the Worcester scene in general was just like our home, like you said, like us being like I'm from Taunton, East. I was born in Brockton, but fucking grew up in Taunton and shit. And Ray and I are from East Taunton, you know, and Ryan,
ETP.
huh?
ETP.
Yeah, bro, and fucking and Kool-Aid is from just up the road, really. I mean, he lived in a couple different places in Taunton, but for a good amount of time, he lived just like just out of East Taunton, and Shane's kind of right from there and shit too. We're Thomas from Middleborough, and so like we're not really from Plymouth, like we said on fucking Bucolic and shit at all. Only Mark grew up in Plymouth.
Right, right.
The
We'll get to that point too.
Boovie,
We'll talk.
the
Remind me.
addition of Boovie
Yeah.
in Worcester, that scene, right? So
Mhm.
by the time we had fucking moved up to Worcester, we had Mark Swift and Matt Ryan had he had played the espresso bar kind of thing, and then Kool-Aid came in for the end of it, and we had gone through another bass player. We had Dave Melanson, and then Luke coming in and shut that. When that machine hit, when it was back to Kool-Aid had come back in, and that live show with Luke and Champy and me and Swifty and shit, and Boovie spinning and everything and keeping all that shit moving and keeping it as a dance party. You know what I mean? That was like my whole world back then. It was like throw a dance party. You remember that? Like we used to fucking just like put on or whatever and have a home dance party, you know?
So for people that don't know, we mentioned Bouvier or Mark Bouvier was the DJ eventually that came in. And that really, I think, set you guys differently. I mean, of course, bands like, later Incubus has a DJ, Deftones had a DJ, have a DJ. At that point, it was really like, it was rather uncommon. You guys had something different and special. And like you said, it set a different environment because the song would end and all of a sudden there was Mark throwing a beat on or like an atmosphere or like what's happening next, like something it heightened anticipation. It led people to go, okay, something else is going on, this isn't done yet, like things are, and it kept the energy going, and that was something different. And that's what I think, not only his business acumen and his overall personality and business sense, I think his musicality really elevated you guys, because I saw before and after. It set you guys apart, and I think that made something even more special than what you guys already had.
Yeah, musically, like with writing songs and shit, he would be very after the fact that he would come in and kind of cut and lay a little bit of layering on and kind of give it that and take, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was fun. It gave us something completely different. I've always loved DJs though. I fucking grew up listening to fucking Eric B and Rakim, you know what I mean? Not from the DJ era of hip hop. And he and I bonded completely over hip hop all the fucking time. You know what I mean? Him and I both love late 80s to fucking mid 90s fucking hip hop. Where, you know what I mean? I love hip hop like fucking like, you know what I mean? Like I love fucking rock and roll. You know what I mean? Like hard rock and Elvis and shit. But like he really like loves fucking hip hop, and he was a crate digger. You know what I mean? For like, if people don't know what that means, like he was a real deal record collector.
Yeah.
He was fucking and a fan of drums to the point of madness. Sometimes, like I would say with him, you know what I mean? Dude?
Eccentric for sure.
Yeah, but like sometimes like too pinpointed. I'm like, hey, yeah, this guy loves drums. But that's there. gig. You know what I mean? When you're DJing, you're staying right on that fucking, hit. And
One thing I remember in specific, not to interrupt you, I'm sorry. One thing I remember is like You Again, when you guys would play You Again, he did that siren sound,
yeah,
woo, and when that hit, you were like, and then day in and day out, it's what all about, like that part, and towards the end of the song, it like brought everything up because it's like, oh my god, there's a sense of urgency, something's happening, and it really added to it, and I never understood like because I didn't have a DJ in my band. We decided to go with more of a percussive thing, but it definitely added. And I was like, man, this is really something different, something special. So kudos to Mark for really taking what was already special and making it even more special.
Right, we had a very raw sound. We were very raw. Like I didn't use any, even recording. Like I didn't use any reverbs or anything on my voice or anything like that. And we didn't have a lot of production tricks.
Right.
Mark kind of gave that thing to it. So anything he did like that, if it was, sounded good, you know what I mean, dude, it was almost like the synthesizer in pop music or something. You know what I mean? It really added flavor to it that was different and cool. And Swifty was a fucking,
oh my god, yeah,
he's a fucking beast live. He's just fucking, you know what I mean, dude? It changed everything about us. Tom was a very loose and funk type of guy, and prog rocky, and very good and very fucking talented dude, and very interesting to write with for a person like me. But Swifty and I kind of linked it up, you know what I mean, dude? And
big ups to Swifty. He had a definite style, and the way his drums were so flat, and the way he would play into the drums. Like he'd be swinging into the drums. I mean, he wasn't a big guy; he was a smaller guy.
Yeah, but he's stocky. He would jump up like out of his fucking seat sometimes when he was doing that fucking double bass with 1 foot shit, dude. You know what I mean? It was loud. You know what I mean? That's the other thing too about Mark. Mark likes loud music.
Yeah.
Like, Ray, all of us had loud. You know what I mean, dude? That was fucking really about the loud shit and that fucking like driving thing that like just made that type of music at that time. It was bassy, you know what I mean? It was the hip hop element in that, and even the guitars were kind of like bassy. You know what I mean?
Well,
a low end that was like growling at you. You know what I mean?
We talked about this before, and I don't want to take words from your mouth, but I know that you talked about both Champy and Kool-Aid, having their specific sounds on their guitars, and not only were they're contorting themselves and doing that whole Eastside fucking swagger thing. The sound in general that those guys were able, it was a wall. And look, just talking about it, the hair on my arm just stood up actually. The wall of sound, because they'd go in there and all of a sudden like raw, and you're like, oh shit, something's about to happen. It was loud. It was really
it's why I did those long ass screams with them. You know what I mean? You do these like 16-second screams over there, like that. Like that's so weird. Like, and it only came from that. You know what I mean? Dude, that like influence of them just being like, this part's just gonna be like, and I'm like, all right, fuck it, here we go. You know what I mean, dude? Let's just make raw noise in people's faces, and see what that gets them to do.
Right.
Yeah. And it got some people to do some crazy shit sometimes, and have some fun with us. They when Ray and Ryan took the next step with gear, you know what I mean, too. Like it started with the triple rack into the Ryan had a 5150 for a little while, but then he went to the triple rack and then fucking
Soldanos.
Ray got a Soldano, and that thing was just like fucking crystal clear, brutal. But he'd also like do weird shit. Ray's an alt rock dude, that kind of thing, and like he had a production fucking dude and shit. He's moved on to that. He would like get combo amps and like weird things and run them in and use them as like fucking off channels or whatever. You know what I mean? Like second clean channels and stuff. It was fun. It was a fun time for all of that. I think with them, they had such freedom of not having to be like traditional guitar players.
Yeah.
Being in a fucking guitar, in like a guitar rock band, and
no solos.
Really ever played a fucking solo?
Not at all.
No. Fucking solo. You know what I mean, dude? And I'm sure Kool-Aid could have done it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And Talented enough guys, for
fucking
sure.
solos. He's a fucking Metallica nut and everything else. I'm sure he could have fucking done it. It just
Right.
wasn't the flavor at the time.
No,
Mark kind of handled that more. Like
Yeah.
Boogie would cut like something, and that would be more like what a solo would be or whatever, you know?
Right. The same thing was for our band. We, you know, when Ennio and was playing, like we never had guitar solos.
No, like Melly, like doing a little ding 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 ding.
Big ups to Seventh Row Crew, by the way, all the guys in the band, in case they haven't seen
dude, fucking brothers, dude, of mine, dude, every one of you, dude.
Again, the relationship, you know, going back to spending time with each other. You know, you and I obviously spent we worked together for a period at Stevens Liquors. You know, I spent what felt like summers down in Taunton at your house, hanging out in your place. You know, and likewise, you spent summers at my house. You know, hanging out up there and the earlier days, and it was just
the time and fucking back and forth. I worked at Stevens, then I took your day gig at Stevens, dude. That's how I got that gig. And, and we fucking man, we've known each other. We figured that out 30 years, dude.
But you know, the camaraderie part about it was always important, and I think that can't be understated too. About, you know, I love each of the guys in your band. You know, the core guys, of course, were my favorites. You know, I got to know Champy and Goulet and Swifty, of course. I mean, I sang for Drained for a little while,
right?
And Swifty played guitar.
Right.
So it's like it was like an incestuous thing where we all kind of supported each other, and that was when Brendan McGuire was actually playing bass in Drained at that time. Brendan Blackbelt, rest in peace. Rest in peace, Brendan from Bane. Of course, later he ended up passing away, unfortunately. But you know, all these bands, man, it was just a wonderful time to be alive, for me anyway. I want to shift gears again and keep it moving because we've been talking now for almost 50 minutes here, which I appreciate your time, but I don't want to get stagnant as far as people watching this. I want to keep people that can get into more of your story and hear more stuff about you. Eventually, Worcester became a thing. Set you guys off in the path. You talked about touring. I know you guys went far south as Florida, up and down the East Coast. I know you guys are.
We're always lucky to fucking find people like that, though, dude. Like we had bands in every spot like that. You know what I mean, dude? To help us out, and that's the way it really started. It was from Worcester. You know,
right.
And we were talking because people saw those videos and they were like, "Hey, we're a fucking Hate Machine from Rochester, New York." You know,
big up the Hate Machine, yeah.
Big fucking up, dude. You know what I mean, dude? Great fucking dude, Al, fucking, and Chad is fucking their management. We met so many people like just like that. You know what I mean, dude? We would fall into these scenes, and they were kind of doing the same thing, whether it was on a larger scale or a smaller scale.
Right.
Fucking Anthrophobia and all the fucking bands in that Reading, Pennsylvania type scene.
Sixth Sense.
In Erie, Sixth Sense, and those fucking Life Equals Death, and all those fucking bands that we met over there, but mostly Sixth Sense, we brought down with a shit ton. You know what I mean? They were like fucking bro band, Nothing Face, and fucking
Of course, yeah. How can you forget Nothing Face? Nothing Face was interesting because Nothing Face, actually coming back to Worcester, Nothing Face had a huge following in Worcester. They would come up and play with us and you. That's how I got to know, of course, Tom Maxwell and Matt Holt. Really, those two guys I knew better than the rest of the band. I got to spend some time with Matt Holt. Of course, rest in peace, Matt Holt. But Tom Maxwell, it's funny. I remembered something the other day. Tom always wore the leather cowboy hat. He had that leather cowboy
with the hoodie, dude. In the fucking paper.
That hat. I go, what's up with that hat, dude? He goes, quote, he goes, I don't wear this hat. This hat wears me. And I was like, that's a really interesting way to look at it because it really did wear him. That was his thing. He got on, he had that hollow body guitar tuned way the fuck down. And you heard those songs. Dude. Oh man, it was again a wonderful time to be alive, and again networking with those types of guys. And those guys went on shortly after to be on Ozfest and you know, even bigger. It was when Ozfest I think first started. You know, so you had great opportunities on the East Coast, and then I also want to talk about Worcester. Another great thing, of course, was Skate '98, and then of course not the same people, but I think that idea became the New England Hardcore and Metal Festival. which became an iconic thing on its own because it happened to be at the same venue, the Worcester Palladium. Skate 98, Skate 99.
I
Talk
didn't know
about.
899.
I think there was a 99 too. I think there was.
I never played that one.
I could be wrong. But I believe there was 2 years of that.
Cool.
I think we played.
Might have been in 97, and I didn't know about it either. I don't know, man.
I could be wrong, but I remember it being more than 1 year.
Huge day for me.
Yeah, let's talk about that real quick, about your experiences there, because it led to you meeting an important person. Of course, Matt Pinfield, a couple people. But talk about State 98 and how that led you guys eventually to meeting Matt Pinfield, which, of course, led you guys to being on Farm Club TV, which was on USA. It was like a big TV show. Had you guys coming out to LA, where, of course, I am right now, and how that kind of changed things for you guys as well.
That day I met Tom. That's the day I met the guys from Nothing Face. I had never met any them at all, and I never even heard of them. And I was pleasantly surprised by their music once we heard it. I was like, holy fuck. You know what I mean? But Tom, I met with Matt Rhines, and they were talking about Gibson guitars and Mustangs, and fucking I was like, yeah. And then I busted out a bottle of wild turkey that I had brought, and we fucking shot some wild turkey. He's a fucking Southern boy, so he was really excited about some wild turkey, and fucking hung out for a while and shot the shit and exchanged numbers and met everybody, and you know what I mean. The rest is fucking kind of history, and that's a great fucking place, man. What's their end in the South, and then I met Matt Pinfield by being a fan of Matt Pinfield. I have kind of a allergic reaction sometimes to some of the media people. I was never good at the radio shit. I always just kind of a fucking douchebag, like to interview people and shit like that. And I don't care for that like fake crap, you know what I mean, about it. And I don't need it. And that's kind of the way I always looked at it. But maybe not the best way to be. I don't really give a fuck. But the Matt, I fucking always thought was really cool. You know what I mean? I've always
120 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, we've always been I've been an alt rock fan. I told you before, one of the things I can definitely string us all together. Ray never listened to like hip hop, and Kool-Aid listened to like the different types of metal that I didn't listen to and shit like that. And you know, but alternative rock for us three, even as like young dudes, and we all like Depeche Mode. We all like The Cure. We all like
what's not to like? Morrissey, The Smiths.
You know what I mean? Like, even later on, when Kool-Aid and I were like roommates and shit, we would fucking get wasted and listen to old Depeche Mode and Cure tracks and shit, and be like, yeah, fuck yeah, you know what I mean? Crazy shit. Stay up all night, and listening to that shit, you know, Oasis and whatnot, and then the Smiths, and then fucking, you know, all Morrissey and all that other shit. We all like that. Ray's sister was in the alt rock scene, and basically kind of thing, and she fucking always had stuff like that, and I had like blank mixtapes from like him making fucking shit or whatever with all this stuff on it, and you know, we really liked that, and I liked Matt's show, so I was like, holy shit, it's Matt fucking Pinfield, and he's so fucking cool, and he's like the fucking coolest dude, and so I went down and I had a fucking bottle of Jack. I had a bottle of tequila, a bottle of fucking wild turkey, and a bottle of Jack Daniels with me.
Courtesy of Stevens Liquors, probably.
Yeah, allegedly. So anyway,
allegedly,
I fucking made some like thing like, hey man, he was supposed to announce. He was gonna announce all the national acts, and we were the band that was playing right before the national acts came on, and it was 420. It was, and I said to him, hey man, like, what's going on? My name's Jake. Nice to meet you. Fucking that. He was just like, Joe cool, you know what I mean? Like he always is. Like you really see him, and I was like, would you announce us? You know what I mean? He was like, yeah, fuck yeah, dude. And I'm like, for a shot of my whiskey kind of thing. And he was like, oh yeah. He fucking took a shot of Jack with me and fucking blah blah. We shot the shit for a while. I told him I was a big fan. I think he thought I wasn't bullshitting, you know what I mean? And whatever.
Yeah, sure.
We were hanging out, and he did that. He announced us, and we had a great fucking show. You know what I mean? And they recorded that. Somebody recorded it. Ski Hat and those dudes, or somebody recorded that for us, and we had like a fucking a video tape, like a VCR.
I'm pretty sure it's on YouTube. Actually, I think it's
like a VHS fucking tape. You know what I mean? We made I don't know how many copies or whatever eventually, but we played that show, and I mean, it was a great fucking show. We had hotels across the street and everything else, and Dickie Colati was fucking hanging around and rolling around, and all the dudes from all the fucking Worcester crowds, and fucking, you know, fucking everybody was there, and everybody was hanging and kicking it back, and played fucking got to sing with Murphy's Law on stage. Like I always, every time I see him, dude, I fucking get
Jimmy G, yeah, of course, Jimmy G, still doing it.
Fucking, you know, and I just, you know, we had a great day that day, and I met up with Matt later, and we hung out and did some other things real quick. And, he fucking, right, and fucking was super cool, met all the dudes in the band, and ended up staying at the same hotel. And that was just kind of a natural thing too, as far as I know. And a lot of that, like, I mean, I would hang out with Matt wherever. We would run into Greatwoods, whatever that was, something, you know, doing whatever. He would call, we'd go hang out for a little bit and shit at the time. I ran into him at a fucking music conference in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, shit like that Mark was the speaker at, and he fucking, he's always just been so gracious and fucking awesome and a really cool cat. But when they were doing Farm Club was by Interscope Records to try
Jimmy Iovine, yep.
Jimmy Iovine, fucking
Dr. Dre, I think it was Dr. Dre. Interscope, right?
Right, at the time it was Dre and fucking Eminem and all that stuff on Interscope, and they didn't really have like a new metal band, you know. Mm-hmm. And they were, and Farm Club was a record label called FarmClub.com,
right?
Because we had done so much shit through the internet, which is crazy because I'm so not internet, but like,
right.
Fat Tony, rest in peace, was good at that shit, and Mark was fucking intent about it. Mark saw the internet from fucking, you know what I mean, dude? You know, you get what I mean? Like he
started from way back, yeah.
.com way before other bands did. National Acts and shit didn't have .coms and whatever.
No, he was ahead of the curve for sure.
Yeah, so with that was kind of like an industry thing too. Like the industry was vibing at the time. Like people like especially in hip hop, people talked about their record deals and shit in their songs and whatever. You know what I mean, dude? And it was like you knew about like who produced their music just by their lyrics and shit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a different vibe. Like when Jimmy Iovine did that shit with Fleetwood Mac and him and Stevie Nicks go and record fucking Landslide, she wasn't like, Landslide, Jimmy Iovine's on this motherfucking track. Like that.
No.
You hear like that story like years later, or the stories about him doing the drums with fucking Tom Petty and shit. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Nobody, you had to see the behind the music or whatever for that. But that was kind of like an industry thing.
Yeah.
And we played with some really big acts on that show, and it was to try to get bands to sign. You know what I mean? And we didn't sign the record deal with that. But
right.
You know, and we kind of knew we weren't gonna, but we still got on the show, and they fucking were great to us.
Right.
But treated like, you know, superstars. You know.
Right.
Like complete noobs. We went from fucking with our roadies. You know what I mean, dude? Like our two roadies who we paid with cigarettes and fucking shit. You know what I mean? You know, and whatever beers, and to, you know, busting our shit right off to the next guys to like go in there. You couldn't like use duct tape. You know what I mean? In LA, dude, it was Hollywood, bro. You know what I mean? Somebody's job was to fucking duct tape shit, bro. You know
yeah, right. Union.
you
yeah.
Taking a job. You ain't going to grab a towel. Like someone's doing that for you. We were like, what the fuck? And it was cool, man. It was great. We fucking, I hung out a lot with fucking Mario Lopez because he was Ali Landry's fiance at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And he was hanging around. He's like does production or something on other things, and he just like, you know, it seemed like he was very natural in the setting. And he was there a lot, you know what I mean? And we were there all fucking day. Like they told us to show up at like 9 o'clock and we did. And like nobody came until like 9 at night, dude. Like, you know, like we were there all fucking day. That's why like on that show we're in the theme park. Because we were like, well, what the fuck are we gonna do? You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna sit in this like room all day, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Go to Universal.
Get you some fucking passes. You guys can go around. We'll send a camera with you and shit. And so we got maybe a little inebriated and through that shit. And then, you know.
So that video exists, by the way, on YouTube. You guys can see, you know, of course, Eastside doing Bucolic on Farm Club, and it's a time capsule. And if anything, it really I watched it not long ago. I actually showed it to my daughter, And I was like, this is my friend Jake that I'm doing Pile of Snakes with. And she was like, wow, this is, and very interested in that whole genre. It like appeals to her stylistically, and I think all that shit's coming back too. But it was such a time, dude. Like what you guys are wearing, and of course you had the dreads back then, and you had like the yellow like bug-eyed glasses on.
Yeah, man.
It was a vibe. It was like a vibe, and I think that
man.
it really, like I said,
I
for lack of a better.
I grew up watching fucking Rattle and Hum because that's what my dad liked for fucking music. You know what I mean, dude? By U2, so fucking Bono's like rock star fucking glasses.
Yeah, the fly.
It's
the
like
fly,
whatever,
dude.
that fucking like rock star fucking scene, man.
Yeah.
You know, and I look at all that too, and I'm like, wow, that's really cool. But it was a moment. But I see, you know what I mean? I don't know. I'm gonna say it. I kind of felt like individuality had gone away in recent times. You know what I mean? In the past, like 15 years, it didn't seem like you could be an individual. Like you couldn't stand like on your own shit. You know what I mean, dude? And just be like your own self. It was very like looked down upon. And,
Yeah.
like, you know, and I'm gonna also say this. I think it's because everybody's got a fucking phone and everyone's shit. And if you're doing something that like could be made into like a little something or other, people are gonna make a fucking meme out of it, and it's like people are afraid of that, you know. And it's like, you know, whatever. Instead of everyone being famous for 15 minutes in the future, everyone's gonna be a meme at one fucking time or something. You know what I mean? And like,
yeah, unfortunately,
people, and it puts them in a fucking place of just like an area to be like, you know, able just to like point and laugh without having to be in the room. You know what I mean, with the other people. And
right, not having to engage or not having to.
You don't have to pay the $5 to go to this show or whatever, or something like that. You know what I mean, dude, or whatever they're going to be doing. But I felt like that kind of went away, and I think that was a time of that, especially that. And if you look at that show, like I was saying, that's fucking Third Eye Blind, right? That's DMX.
Yeah.
They're not the same shit.
No.
You know what I mean, dude? Like, you don't, you know what I mean? That's like, there was real shows like that happening all over America where bands were playing with fucking hip-hop, and hip-hop was playing with bands, and they're playing with ska music. And
well, that was like the Warped Tour, right? The impetus of the Warped Tour was very much that. Like that you could do that.
Idea like that, you know what I mean? Like all alternative everything, you know what I mean?
Lollapalooza to a degree too, I think, did something similar.
I saw Lollapalooza when it was Smashing Pumpkins and Beastie Boys and shit.
You know what I mean?
I mean, like, what do you more want? It was like George Clinton, fucking Funk All Stars. It was fucking
Chili Peppers? Was Chili Peppers on that too?
I don't think they were there. L7.
Oh my God, yeah.
Jackson. I saw a bunch of fucking bands that day that when I think about it now, I'm like, holy shit, that was one fucking day.
Right.
I mean, like,
it doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking it's same shit, you know.
So let's you had that experience.
That
you went on TV.
Great show. Fucking Matt's the fucking coolest fucking dude ever, and we had a great experience with it. And we came home, and it was over. You know what I mean? So like that was like a thing, and then all of a sudden the internet. You know what I mean? And all these people, once it aired, you know what I mean? Because we were home for like a week or whatever, you know, and then it airs, and it's like we didn't know what it was gonna look like, and we didn't know what it was gonna take out all that shit. We went to Forest fucking shop, an underground tattoo, whatever, some kind of place that wasn't fucking, you know what I mean, doing our thing.
It was an illegal tattoo shop at the time.
You know what I mean? And it was fucking like, you know what I mean? Like that's what we did. And then they interviewed us in there. We were fucking boozing it up and getting fucking cranked before they fucking showed up and shit, dude. And,
Part of the course, yeah.
Yeah, right. And fucking, so we had a great time doing that, and Matt was very fucking gracious on all that shit. And they made us look funny, and they made us look like we really were. You know what I mean, dude? And I was excited about it. And I thought, well, that went well, you know. And
then what happened?
Things blew up, you know, like people in Japan knew who Eastside was, fucking, you know what I mean, and shit like that, and it was cool. It was really cool. It was really cool. We got chances to do things then that we definitely didn't do before, and I I ended up meeting a dude named Carl Napa, and that's when we did.
Yeah. Longview.
Yeah, we ended up going to Longview and recording there. We had Nuno sing on one of our songs, dude. You know what I mean? Nuno Bancourt. We fucking got to meet Nuno.
So in that way too, I know there's an album that you guys recorded that you never released. Couple of them actually. I know you also recorded with Jim Foster from Nelset. We've talked about that before.
Yep, Foster, man. That was the album that we did that we never released. I don't know. I love that album. It's out there. You can hear it though, right? Like somebody put some shit up there. I think Mark or whatever put some of it out, and just I love that album. And that part of us was kind of getting captured in a bottle, and then I don't know. You know, we had been in Eastside for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And Ray and I had been in a band together since we were like 14 or something. You know. And,
right.
And whatever happened, I don't really know. It was amicable. We all kind of wanted it to end. We were ready for it to end at a certain time. I wanted to take some other steps musically. They wanted to take other steps musically. I don't think that was the problem. It was just I think we were going to have to find that niche again. You know what I mean?
You already built it up. Yeah.
Well, we did that with rap and hard fuck rock, you know what I mean, like screaming rock music, and then we did it with harder music and still the hip hop edge kind of thing, and a little bit of other stuff here and there, and then the next thing, I don't know, like it would have had to have been something different, and what it would have been, I don't know if it would have worked or whatever, we would have made it work. But when Swifty left and Ryan Costa came in, we changed sonically, you know what I mean, become the person, you know what I mean.
Right.
And it had a different flow to it. You know what I mean? And it wasn't as, I don't want to say punchy, because it was still punchy. It just wasn't as like, you know what I mean?
It wasn't the same.
It was Ryan. And Ryan's a trained drummer. Ryan is fucking marching band and fucking all that shit. You know what I mean? So it was better in the sense of that. But in the other sense of like Swifty's way, it was just something we were finding a spot. We started to write some shit. I felt good about it. And, you know, we kind of went to the next step, and one day we all got together and we're done. And we talked about it, and we didn't want to play a last show, and we didn't want to do any of that shit because we didn't want to announce that and make it like that. And that's us, and we just did it. You know what I mean? We were just done. You know.
Right.
When we were done, we started another band right away called Finalist.
Finalist, yeah.
Finalist, and
does any of that exist recording wise? By the way.
Yeah, we recorded some shit and made like a bunch of demos, and I think Luke had them. And
I don't know that I've ever heard that.
It's not it's not our best shit.
Yeah,
it was going towards the sound that they were into. Luke and Ray were writing most of the musical parts to it, and it was something that I didn't really get at the time, so I didn't really know how to like vocally like express it, and I feel like some of like the vocal end of it fell flat. The music though was cool. It's a little more like jangly and like all hard.
Friendly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know,
right.
Good, you know, kind of deal. Probably more of the shit towards like the stuff that Ray got into later on, like with all the dudes that he worked with and shit, with like Taking Back Sunday and like all that emo like world and those things. Not so much punk stuff that he did, but like that type of stuff, you know. And that was hot coming up at the time too. You know what I mean? That was like rising up.
So you guys basically called it a day, and which happens. I mean, I've been there too. You know, everything has a season.
Yep.
You did the Finalist thing, and then I know you stepped away for a little while. You didn't do much of anything, and then you came back.
No, I went a while without even writing the lyric.
Right, I know, and that happened to the best of us too. You kind of step away from the art, only because you live it so hard for so long that you need to kind of take a breather, and I've done that too. I know you came back.
I did it on purpose, man.
Yeah, everything has a purpose, for sure.
It was going on with me, and I was like, yeah, I did it on purpose. And,
I know you came back with Like a Bastard. I remember that.
Yep.
And I actually was talking to somebody. Her Her name is MC Barnes, by the way. She's the one that I was telling you. She told me to say hello, by the way. She's the one that she's been listening to the Like a Bastard stuff still. And she's like, I like this stuff and this stuff. And she told me to tell you to say what's up. So MC Barnes, I'm telling Jake what's up for you. I'm like the pile of snakes intermediary between you and the fucking world.
I don't like that.
Whatever.
People tell me shit from the internet, but
it's all good. It's all love. It's funny. I've never heard a negative thing. It's only been positive. It's all love. So
the internet, you know what I mean?
I hear you. You know, the people that have really kept it in the forefront of my mind, and we talked about this too. You know, there's a guy in Germany that has a new metal archive. It's his site, and then of course Marco and Hasub down in Brazil. Like, these guys are keeping us alive, dude. They get no stake in it. They have nothing other than the love of the culture and the music, and
it's really cool.
So I have a lot of love for it. You know what I mean? And I try to do what I can. I've sent stuff to people, and I'll do interviews with people. So because they want the dirt. They want to know, like, what you're kind of talking about today, like, hey, what happened and what was that like? And, you know, give us a glimpse into that time, which is really why I wanted to do this with you today. Kind of finishing up in a way, and then I want to get some final thoughts from you that we didn't really talk about before. You know, what did you take away from it when it was all said and done? You know, as far as Eastside, what did it mean to you? Obviously, we still have relationships to this day, both of us, from our experiences. Obviously, I still have this relationship with you, which led up to Pile of Snakes and kind of us kind of creating together again after so many years. What did it all kind of, and when it's all said and done, what did it mean to you? Like, what did it leave you with?
Well, life experience, you know, the ability to, believe it or not, it was the ability to work with others was probably the great gift that it gave me. You know what I mean? Like, I can work with people now, not just musically, you know what I mean? But like,
personally,
you know what I mean? Yeah, like anything, like, you know what I mean? I can usually get along in that type of setting. What it meant to me and what it means to me. What it meant to me then was fucking absolutely everything. It meant every single thing in the world to me. The fans, I can't fucking say enough about that. People keeping our asses moving. People fucking caring about us, getting tattoos of the fucking band. The fucking crazy shit. You know what I mean? That's pretty intense. The amount of work that we put into Eastside, I don't think a lot of people really understand that. And when they hear about all the shows we played, that's one thing. But we also practiced 5 days a week.
Right.
6 fucking years straight, dude. You know what I mean? Until we did all that, until we got on the road. And that was something that's like, you know, I mean, it's a lot of shit. You know what I mean?
Dedication. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, man. You know, it becomes something that, you know what I mean, is just part of you. You know what I mean? I know people are like, oh, it's like I lost my right arm or something, but it is. It's part of your fucking life. It's not just, it's part of your existence. It's part of the way I look. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't just have dreads on stage. You know what I mean? I don't have I'm not like.
It wasn't a wig.
Corey Taylor on a mask. And then when he takes off his mask, you know what I mean? He's Corey Taylor. You know what I mean? Gene Simmons washes off his makeup. I look fucking like that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you did. You did. I remember it vividly.
I'm not taking anything away from those dudes. You know what I mean? That's really cool what they do. But like, you know, you can walk away from it in that sense, and I didn't, and I lived it, and I really feel lucky that it ever happened. I feel lucky for all the people I met, all the music I got to see for free, and all the things that came along with that, from clothing to all kinds of excesses, the fucking madness. You know what I mean? That was great.
A lot of that too, yeah.
Times too, and you know, that was really great. And what it means to me now, like as a legacy, like in this sense, it's weird because I really didn't think about it like that until probably like the last 5 years. You know, where I started to see things like that on YouTube, or somebody was saying like, "Hey, man, did you know that this shit. Like Nick Ski Hat put up all this shit, and I'm like, oh whatever. Somebody was like,
big up to Nick Ski Hat, by the way.
Yeah, man, fucking A. And fucking cool dude, Scott Wheeler, fucking the other photog, fucking and shit, and all the dudes who ever did anything like that. And those dudes just fucking do shit, just fucking pro bono or whatever. Sometimes too, somebody would, you know what I mean? Show part of that.
Evil Rob was another guy in that scene.
Fucking, yeah, dude. No fucking you'll have, you know what I mean? Like I never. It's weird. I didn't start thinking about it until like that, and I didn't tell people I was in the band. I never told like people I worked with and shit. Like I wouldn't be like, oh, I was in some band back in the day or something. I didn't tell fucking people that shit, dude. So, yeah, man. If they were like, oh yeah, you know, maybe they would notice I talk about music a ton, and then when we talk about it, and I'd be like, oh, I used to be in a band, you know what I mean, kind of thing. But like now, I tell people, and I tell people Eastcide and shit. I'm like, oh yeah, check out this fucking band I used to be in. Because people like that type of shit.
You know come back around again.
Yeah, everybody's telling me that. They're like, oh yeah, I listen to fucking Slipknot, blah blah. I'm like, oh, you might like this or fucking whatever. You know what I mean? This is my old band.
Right.
And in that respect, I feel like it's really cool. I feel like it's like something that, especially if like there's, like I said, especially if there's like young musicians that are like doing it and they're getting something out of what I did. You know what I mean? And we're giving back to music, because that to me is important. Music saved my life multiple times. I want to say that. But,
for sure.
Its own entity, the thing, music. You know what I mean? Like not music, like, you know, a particular thing. Like I mean music. You know what I mean, dude? The big fucking music.
Think about music, yeah.
It saved my life and spoke to me in ways that I don't really know how to describe. So if that is how people are feeling about like some of my shit, or it's like one of their favorite tracks or something, I mean, that's fucking crazy to me, dude. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
That's insane, man. I don't know. That's how I feel about it. You know what I mean? That's what it means. Like, whoa. You know, like that's what it means. Like I don't have any other way to put it. It's like huge. It fucking is totally like, that's really cool. You know what I mean?
I look at it this way. This is my way of looking at it, which is kind of twisted and morbid, but follow me for a second. You know, when I started having kids, and it was able to kind of go, you know, have my adult life and, you know, kind of away from music here and there. One thing that always I liked about being able to put music out into the universe, you know, whether YouTube or social media or whatever, is that the permanence of that. What I mean by that is YouTube's not going to go away. YouTube is going to be forever, probably just different iterations, but whatever's on YouTube is going to be forever, right? And you and I are both all over YouTube, right? And it's a digital monument to the things that we've done in our lives. And long after I'm gone, and you're gone, that will exist. And it has for scores of people that are artists, musicians, and just regular people, right? But I always tell my kids, is and this is, you know, again, to remind them of the impermanence of life, is to say, you know, when I'm gone, if you ever want to talk to me, all you got to do is go online. And you want to hear my voice and you want to see me, go online. And we didn't have that with our parents, or don't have that with our parents. I lost my dad years ago, but I can't just go visit with my dad virtually. Like I don't have that. I can do that with my kids though. I say, hey, if you ever forget what my voice sounds like, you ever forget what I, you know, because I forget that with my dad. I forget his voice sometimes, but I'm like, if you ever want to remember what I sound like, all you got to do is go visit me online. You can hear my voice, my songs. You can hear the things that I said. You know what I mean? So for that,
it doesn't sound dark, dude.
I mean, it's you know, altruistic, I guess, to a degree, but and sort of weird. But that's how I look at it. And you know, I'm glad I was able to have that opportunity, because not everybody has that opportunity too. I want to finish off by asking you a couple questions, quick and rapid fire, and then we'll end it here, because we're almost at an hour and 30. Your favorite vocalist of all time? Give me your top
Bill
three.
Anselmo. No,
top
it's
three.
Elvis Presley. It goes Elvis Presley. It's going to be Axl, then Phil.
Okay.
Yeah.
The wildest show you were ever at that wasn't your show?
Wildest?
Yeah, like you were just like, I'll quickly tell a story. We were at the Boston Hempfest pot rally thing back in the day. Sam Black Church, who Jet Crandall happens to be one of my top three. Of course, HR and Rollins are up there too. I happened to be at that show, and I'm running across this field. It was like being in Braveheart. And all of a sudden I turn and I look, and it's you. And I had no idea you were there. And we were like, oh! Like, I think I jumped on your back. And we ran across like this, like swinging. And we had no idea each other was there. But it was like being in the middle of like a war. It was like Braveheart, you know. And that was one of the wildest shows I remember being at. But something like that, you know, it's a fond memory of being at some place where it was just chaos, you know.
Well, you know, I will say that some of the most like fun shows that I've ever been at was Murphy's Law shows like that. You know what I mean? In that sense, in the sense. But I saw the Boston's at Lupo's during one of their fucking
hometown throwdown deals.
And it was fucking chaos. It was fucking awesome too, because it wasn't like a, you know what I mean? It was like that, like camaraderie, like respect kind of like deal, and like you know, it was of the time of like crowd surfing was like kind of like hip to do and shit like that now in the Boston. I saw fucking Sick of It All at Club Babyhead.
Nice.
Intense, bro. Like that was like, and I was a kid, dude. Babyhead was fucking like young, you know. And,
rest in peace, Lou Cola. By the way, he just passed away.
Yes, yeah, man. Fuck yeah, man. I saw them. It was right after fucking Scratch the Surface came out.
Okay.
Scratch the Surface.
Which one of that's probably my favorite album by Sick of It All. Probably, great album.
That's tough.
Slightly off topic. Favorite movie? What's your favorite
ever? Probably Rocky, the first
Rocky.
one.
Rocky is your favorite movie?
It's my favorite movie. Yeah, I have like a thing of it over here and shit. Like,
okay.
Yeah, I'm a fucking sly. I'm a guns and fucking fight kid. Like that's like what I grew up like watching on TV and movies and shit. That's when like, you know, 18 Dukes of Hazzard and fucking Knight Rider and fucking, you know,
different time altogether when we grew up, man. Different time.
Right, and fucking and a lot of like Rambo. Like I fucking love Rambo. You know what I mean, dude?
What's not liked about Rambo?
Right, and yeah, Rocky.
Biggest regret. What's your biggest regret as far as your music career? What's something that you wish you did that you didn't get to do?
I don't have any regrets with my music career. I fucking feel like I did way more than I ever thought I would do. Man,
That's good. That's good.
I was saying earlier in the thing, I have zero fucking. I never expected that. You know what I mean? I never expected to be on fucking TV. I never expected to fucking get write-ups in like national magazines. I never expected to meet like bands and shit. When we played at the Main Street when I was a fucking like muscle, I was like, no, what? I mean, like. You know what I mean? I'm not a singer, dude. Yeah, I mean, like, I am now. I've learned how to, you know, do whatever, and I fucking played on all these things, but I don't ever took a fucking music lesson. I didn't know what E chord was or anything like that. I didn't know what drop tuning was and shit when those dudes were doing that. I just was like, I'm going to do this shit and rip it. I always felt like an imposter in this. That surprised you? It was like my stage presence was my fucking musicality and shit. You know what I mean? And
right.
It's like I could do that better than other people, but I mean, I couldn't pick up a fucking guitar or play a fucking drum beat or anything then. You know, I can now. You know what I mean? I'm fucking pretty good at guitar now, but like, I couldn't do that then. You know, I just
right.
So I don't have any regrets. I did regret like not learning how to play guitar and sing songs until I did it. Like, you know what I mean? I always wanted to like be like Aaron Lewis's fucking thing, like, you know what I mean, what he does, like, kind of shit, you know what I mean, or like, you know, a billion different country guys, you know what I mean, and even, you know, whoever, like, does shit like that. I always thought that was really cool, you know, and I really, so I did regret that until I did it about, I don't know how many years ago, but I don't really have regrets with it, man, you know, I don't look back at it like that at all. I only see like that, like I did the things that I did, and I was very excited for them, you know.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. I think I want to end. I had a couple other ideas, but I think I want to end on that because I think that was well said. You know, it's all a journey, right? You know, we've taken a journey of a million fucking steps in doing this shit over the past 30 plus years, and you know, we're still doing it. And I'm lucky that I have you to kind of do this shit with. Of course, our new little single EP, "Welcome to the Snakepile," is out as of right
Fun. Check
now.
it out. It's good, fun music, dude. And it's
And
stuff that you should have fun to, and people should
mhm,
be allowed to have fun, and you should have some
yeah,
fun listening to it. And you should, you know what I mean? I love it. Like the world needs another fucking License to Ill. You know what I mean? Like, you
right.
know, like we need that. And I want to
This is just this is just a start, by the way. It's just a taste, like as Robert De Niro would say, just a taste. You know, we have other stuff in the works. We probably have another 6 to 9 songs that we're working on, so that will be coming eventually. So everybody that's still interested in it and still excited about it, thank you very much. I want to say that, you know, as a fan and as a friend, that, you know, you're on my Mount Rushmore, bro, of vocalists.
Well,
And
thank you.
I'm not saying, they always say give people their flowers while they're still here, right? Not when they're gone. So I want to tell you that while you're here, dude, I love you. I'm so incredibly lucky to have somebody like you that I was able to kind of exist in the same space as. That I shared your air, you know what I mean, and I consider myself lucky to be somebody that I can tell that you're my friend, and that you're my peer, and that that I got to see some of the best to ever do it. And you know, if somebody sees this and is able to go, man, I don't know much about it, go back and look. This guy, he defined a lot of things for me, and you know, you really pushed me. You put me in a place where I was uncomfortable, and you made me want to get better. So, you know, even though I was a little bit older than you, I looked at you as a little brother. I never looked down at you. In fact, I always looked at you eye to eye. I always saw you as, you know, my friend and as my equal. And I thank you for just, you know, what you've given to me over the years and what you're still giving to me today. So
Well,
thank you for doing all those things.
And thanks to you for this, because
It's all good, brother.
people don't know, man. Like the whole Pile of Snakes thing, man. This was you getting it together and popping all that shit. I fucking love you, man. That's fucking wonderful, and that's very kind of you to say, dude. I appreciate it.
It's all good, dude.
Every fucking one of those moments. I remember getting in trouble for fucking spraying people with champagne at your fucking record release party. That's fucking espresso bar, dude. They were like, fucking get free, keep me, fucking people, you know. It's like, we're in the fucking party. Fucking, yeah.
I got great memories of you riding with us in certain things. I think you broke your foot at one of our shows or something. Or you rolled your ankle.
I my ankle at a show.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like right after Christmas or something.
Yeah.
Right. And we fucking went up there and we got drunk like on the way. And there was like a big stage and I was singing with you and you were leaning down, but still you're like fucking. You said we looked eye to eye. That never happened, bro. You know what I mean? You're too tall and fucking. And I was leaning up to you, dude. And fucking, I'm like, and then like I kind of was up on the stage with my arms and I pushed back like to like get into the pit. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And, and nobody was there. They had moved around me, and I just stepped down to catch myself, and it was like,
crack.
Boy, dude. There it went. Yeah, that fucking ankle's giving me shit for years too, man. I mean, it was already all fucked up. I fucking flat feet.
Good memories, bro. Good times,
Memories,
and I'll cherish them forever. So
yeah.
check out Pile of Snakes. We're gonna have some merchandise.
Fucking new shit. There's more shit to come.
We got shit coming out
with us, and we're gonna put more shit out. We're gonna see y'all in the future. We're gonna do some more shit like this. And we're gonna figure some shit out, and
who knows?
Yeah, there it is. Listen to Robot Monster.
Like yeah, Robot Monster. There you go.
Go check out Robot Monster. I was the bass player in that band for their first album.
Nice.
Out, dude. Now they're fucking singers. Fucking twin brother plays bass. A little nepotism going on. But we're not gonna talk about it.
All right, man. One love.
Will get what I mean.
Right. You don't go any
videos.
Jake D, don't go anywhere. You out there in watching this, you go someplace. We'll see you soon. Love you guys. Peace.
Thank you for fucking watching this. Peace out.